So today we have come with another webinar on the medical webinar regulatory and compliance series. So this is the third webinar. So the topic for this webinar is ISO 13458 485 2016 overview of medical devices, quality management systems requirement for regulatory purposes. So we have again with us our speaker for the series, Mr. Siddharth Jain, CEO and Chief Regulatory Advisor at Symbiorph Clinical Trialogy. So we have been, it's been a good response since we started this series, and we have a lot of questions coming up. So while we start, we'll take this format. So in between, we'll take a break for Q&A, and then we'll go for another round of Q&A in the end of the webinar. So you can just share your queries in the chat box, or you can raise your hands and you can, we'll unmute you and you can share your queries over there. And if you have any other queries as well in the meantime, so just put in the chat box and we'll work on that. And thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope this session will be useful for you. Yeah, so over to you, Siddharth.
Yeah, so good morning to all the participants. So as you all know, this is the third series of our to have basic understandings about the ISO 134 about the regulations on medical devices. So we are going to initiate with what you know or what you mean by the ISO 13485/2016, and I will be giving you the brief understanding about why the ISO 13485 is necessary. What are the different clauses of ISO 13485 which will become mandatory for your organization, and how to choose the notified body, what are the parameters of doing the identification process of the correct notified bodies, and then at the end we will be taking care of how the CAPA should be raised, how to do the corrective and preventive actions for any of the non-conformities which you have seen in your system. So I hope many of you are aware about the ISO 13485, but I am again giving you about what is ISO 13485/2016. That if you read that standard ISO 13485, the first page, the title page states that it's an international standard for medical devices, quality management system, requirement for regulatory purposes. So ISO 13485 is a quality management system requirement for all the medical device manufacturers, whether it is a contract manufacturer, whether it is a startup company, or whether it is a larger organization. Implementation of 13485 into their system is one of the mandatory requirements. So 13485 was first released in year 2003, and then a further series of amendments has happened on the 13485. After the first standard which is released on year 2003, after that they have amended the 13485 and they have come up with a new version in 2012. And further they have done the amendment in 2016. So now the current version which is going to make it applicable to all the medical device manufacturers is ISO 13485/2016 version. So ISO 13485 standard is related to the quality management system in the field of medical devices, including the IVD. It means that it's not only for the medical devices, it's also going to make it applicable to the in vitro diagnostic medical devices manufacturers. This standard can be used by the organization who are involved in doing the design and development, production, installation, and servicing of the medical devices and in vitro diagnostic medical devices, as well as for the design, development, and provision of related services. Suppose that you are not doing the design and development activities, but you have outsourced your activity to some other agency who is going to do the design and development process for your devices, or who is liable to do a contract manufacturing for your product. So it is a responsibility that that subcontractor or outsourced company should also comply with the requirement of ISO 13485-2016 version. It is very important to note that ISO 13485 is designated to be implemented throughout the whole organization. It means that you have 10 departments like the HR department, quality assurance department, QC department, production department, right? And the top management department. So the 13485 is implemented in the whole organization, and it is not specific to only one department. You cannot choose to implement the 13485 and got a certificate only in one department. So say HR department or production department, you have to have the entire system or entire life cycle, starting from the purchasing department to the sales department, QA QC marketing department, your production department, top management department. Each and every department which we have identified should get implemented with the requirement of 13485. ISO 13485 can also be used by the internal and external parties, as I have told to you, including certification bodies, to assess the organization's ability to meet customer and regulatory requirements. In many of the cases, that a third-party audit will be called. Suppose if you want to sell your product either in regulated countries like the European country, or GCC country like the Saudi Arabia country or the Southeast Asian countries. So many of your distributors or the reputed distributor, they will call for a third party audit. When they are calling for a third party audit, then the auditing agencies, they will review your system and documents as per the requirement of 13485.
Yeah, Mr. Siddharth, sorry to interrupt. Can you put it on a slideshow mode so that it can?
Yeah, fine. Okay, sure. Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you. Now it is full screen. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's fine. So what I'm telling that if you are the third party agency or third party auditing agency will also be going to audit your facility as per the requirement of 13485, when you want to sell your product into the regulated market like the Latin American countries like the Argentina, Brazil, or other the Americas like the Canada or the other countries. So you have to make your comment on 3485. So 13485 is basically based on a broader requirement of ISO 9001 standard, which was first implemented in the year 1996. And in Europe, to implement only to the medical device industry, they have come up with a new standard called 13485. So if you see the clausal requirement, around 60 to 70% of clausal requirement is similar to the ISO 9001. But for the medical device manufacturers, ISO 9001 is not a mandatory requirement, but 13485 is a mandatory requirement for any of the medical device manufacturers. Further to that, ISO 13485 is a standalone standard, meaning that a company can apply it without the support of any other quality management system. It is not necessary that you should also implement the ISO 9001, because 13485 is a standalone standard, so you can implement it as such. So 13485 is a voluntary certification. It is not a mandatory certifications, but for any other medical device manufacturers who want to sell their product in India as per the Indian Medical Device Rule 2017, or if they want to intend to sell their product in regulated countries for obtaining the C certifications as per the requirement of MDR 2017-745, or for in vitro diagnostic requirements called IVDR 2017/746, the implementation of 13485, in that case, it will become mandatory. So here we have talked about what is 13485. Now I will be talking about the why ISO 13485 is a very necessary. It is necessary because as per the Indian Medical Device Rule, Schedule 5th, it talks about the quality management system for the medical device manufacturers. And also, as I talked about it, if you want to sell your devices in a regulated country or the European countries, so 13485 is the first step to achieve the compliance with the regulatory requirement. So that's why the 13485 become a must to have to any of the medical device manufacturing companies. So the preferred method to prove the conformity is a certification. So once you have implemented your quality management system as per the requirement of 13485, so to see that whether it is you prove the conformity, you have to get your system get audited by the notified bodies. So there are various notified bodies which are present in India. So we have to select from these notified bodies to how to go ahead for the certifications of your system as per the requirement of 13485. I will be talking about how to choose the notified body for the Indian Medical Device Rule, or if you want to go for a C certification. Now, this 13485 is has a relationship or direct relationship with the Indian Medical Device Rule 2017 and also with respect to the European Medical Device Regulations. If we talk about the Indian Medical Device Rule, the fifth schedule of Indian Medical Device Rule 2017 talk about the quality management system for medical devices and in vitro diagnostic medical devices. So if any medical device startups would like to apply for a manufacturing license, whether it comes under a notified category or a non-notified category, it means whether it is a regulated or a non-regulated, the implementation and certification of the system as per the requirement of 13485 become a mandatory. Also, compliance with the ISO 13485 does not provide a presumptions that all aspects of quality management system of the medical device rule has been get compliant. It is the requirement of the manufacturing company or the startup and notified body to identify the applicable regulatory requirements which are not covered by the standard. Because the standards ISO 13485 only talk about the quality management system. But suppose if you are manufacturing some very specific devices, like if we talk about the intraocular lenses, or if we talk about a screening device, a neonatal screening device, or a head trauma screening device, so you have to identify the standard particular to that product, and then you have to also comply with that standard when you are implementing the quality management system. One of the advantage of the quality management system as per the 13485 is that it gives the advantage to the manufacturing company that you can able to exclude any of the clauses which is not going to get applicable to your organization. Suppose if your organization is manufacturing the sterile single-use device, right? In that case, the installation activities and the servicing activity is not applicable. In many other cases, if your company is manufacturing a non-sterile device, so in that case, you can able to exclude the sterile clause from your requirement. So whenever we are preparing or drafting the quality manual, so we have to see what are the clauses which we can able to exclude from our system, and we have to give the proper justification and rationale when we are preparing the quality manual as per the requirement of 13485. The further to that the ISO 13485/2016 is talk about the risk-based approach for your quality management system. So what you mean by the risk-based approach? For the risk-based approach, the 13485 standard is now directly linked with the requirement of ISO 14971. And what is 14971? ISO 14971 is talk about the risk management system for the medical devices manufacturers. So you have to read the standard and apply the risk-based approach onto your system. This is the new requirement which came up in the 2016. If you read the older the standard ISO 13485 2012 requirement, it has no mention about the risk-based approach. So if you have identified around 7 different departments or the 7 different key processes, like if you talk about the purchasing process, so you have to apply the risk based onto your risk process. What are the risks it can be happen that if the purchasing process is not happen in as per the SOP or the procedure which you have implemented. You have to identify all the key processes and then you have to apply the risk-based approach onto it. And you have to prepare a separate document. And you have to see that the risk-based approach on the process and on the product is a two separate activities. Here I'm talking about the risk-based approach onto your system, not onto your product. So make sure that there should be a clear 2 different type of document should be prepared, one for your system, risk-based system, and one for your devices. Now, as we are moving ahead, the 13485 is also closely aligned with the standards such as ISO 9001, ISO 1400 for the environmental and for the OSAS. But I hope so this are not going to be applicable to most of the medical device startups companies. Now, here I have seen that most of the startups, they have spent considerable amount of or what we have I told they had just wasted their money in the getting the certification from the companies which are not having the approved or they had not accredited with all the scopes. I have known many of the medical device startups, those who have spent around 3 lakh, 4 lakh rupees of the amount on the having the certification from a non-accredited companies, and so that they have wasted their money. So what are the due diligence before you select the notified bodies? Suppose if your company main aim is to sell your product only in India and you are not interested to sell your product in the European countries or other regulated countries, suppose for the next 2 years, your intent to market is that you only want to sell your product in Indian market, right? So what are the key aspects that a medical device startup should know before they are selecting a notified body? The one of the very key aspects is that whether that certification agency is approved from NABCB or not. What is NABCB? NABCB is coming under a quality control in India for the National Accreditation Board for Certification Bodies. So the quality control of India under its body NABCB will regulate all the certification agencies who is giving the accreditation for giving the ISO 13485 to the medical device manufacturers. And if you have read it very carefully, on 11th of February 2016, on 11th of February 2020, that the CDSO, they have released 2 gadget notifications. One gadget notification talk about the definition of medical devices, and the second gadget notification talk about the registration process for the notified and non-notified medical devices. And here, if you can able to read that, it talk about that any of the medical device manufacturers should have their 13485 only from an NABCB approved certification agencies. And when you are going to upload your document to the Sugam portal, you have to upload the 13485 certification. And if it is not from an accredited certification body, the chances of rejection of your application will become higher. So you have to see that whether the certification agency whom you are going to get engaged with it, whether they are accredited with NABCB or not. Now, the second checklist, the second main point which you should know about the scope, whether the certification agency they have the accreditation from NABCB, but whether they have all the scope with them or not. Because many of the certification agency, they might not have the scope in place for your sets of devices. So you should know that what category your devices will coming under it, and you have to ask the certification agency or certification body, kindly provide me the entire scope certificate which is given by the NABCB, and then accordingly you have to cross check whether your product category is falling under their scope or not. If they are falling under their scope, then you can able to select that certification body. So there are the two checklists, whether they have an NABCB approval or not, whether they have all the scope of the product which you are having or not, you have to cross check. Now the third, which is very important, is that whether they have a qualified auditor in place or not, because you all know about that 1345 or medical devices is a very niche area right now, and many of the certification agencies, they might not have well-qualified auditors. So if they don't have well-qualified auditors, it will have a direct impact on your quality management system. Because if your system is not well audited by the external agency, so the chances of the improvement into your system will become less. So we have to see that whether the qualified auditor is present or not, and how they can able to help in doing the audit and help in improvement of your system. So these are the basic three criteria which you have to set which we have to see when you are going for the 2045 certifications as per the 5th schedule, if you want only to sell your product in India. Now, further to that, if your intent or if you want to sell your product also in India, and also to the other European countries and other accredited or highly regulated countries. So then what are the criteria to select the notified bodies? The first criteria to select the notified body is to check the list of European Union. The European Union, they have come up with the list of notified bodies, or what we call it the accredited notified bodies, who are liable to give you the certificate as per the requirement of 1345. So you don't have to go for 2 certifications. If you intend to market your product in India and also the other country, you have to select such a notified body who have got the accreditation also from the NABCB and also from the European Union. So that's why in that chances, the expense or the monetary expense which a medical device startup will going to occur will become less, because the same notified body will going to audit your facility as per the requirement of 5th schedule of Indian medical device rule, and also they will check the audit your facility as per the requirements of EN ISO 13485. Here why I have given emphasis on EN. EN means European notified. So if you want to sell your product in European countries or other regulated countries, so one of the basic requirements is that the certificate should have a European notified. EN means European notified. It means that the ISO 13485 2016 certificate or 13485 standard is well adopted by the European Commission. So that's why they have written EN in front of ISO standard. So the same certification body can able to audit your system as per the 5th schedule and also as per the requirement of EN ISO. So the startup can able to save considerable amount of money and considerable amount of time over here. So I will be just showing you the walkthrough the NABCB website, how to select the notified body. If your intent is only to market your product in India for, say, if you want to sell only your product in India for, say, about 2 to 3 years, then I will not suggest you to go for a European notified body. But suppose if you want to sell your product in European countries also, then I will going to recommend that you have to select the notified bodies such that they have the approval from both NABCB and from the European Union. So I will be showing you the website of NABCB. Are you able to see the screen of NABCB? Gaurav, are
Yes,
they?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So now here you can able to see that website of National Accreditation Board for Certification Body, who is liable to give the accreditations to all the certification agency or bodies. So this is the website. Now here you can see about what you know about the NABCB accreditation scheme, accredited certification bodies, and the IB. So now we have to select over there. Now we select accredited certification bodies and IBs. Now you will see the list of certifications or / inspection bodies. Now you can able to here you can see that MDQMS. MDQMS means Medical Device Quality Management System. Now we will select this. Now you can able to see that in India there is only 10 accredited notified body from NABCB to give you the certificate as per the requirement of 1345/2016. So whenever you are selecting, you have to select from this notified body only, so that you don't waste your money, your time, and you get an approved certificate for your manufacturing license. Now here you can see that some of the well highly accredited company, like you can see PUV Sud, PUV Renland, DNV, BSI, SGS. So these companies like SGS, BSI, DNV, TUV Renland, and TUV Sud, these notified bodies are also accredited from the European Commission for the either for C certification and also for the ISO 13485. So if you want to sell your product in European countries, so you have to select from only from these 5 notified bodies. TUV Sud is 1, TUV Renland, DNV GL is 3rd, BSI Group India Limited is 4th, and SGS India is 5th. So you can say that in India, only 5 notified bodies are currently present who will able to give you or who can do the audit, both the requirement of 5th schedule and both the requirement of EN ISO 13485. Now further, if I will go and select the TV Sud. Now here you can able to see the scope of accreditation. So it means that TU Sud is accredited for non-active medical devices, for active medical devices non-implantable, for active implantable medical devices, for in vitro diagnostic medical devices, for also for the sterilization. So here you can able to see the scope. Now I will show you the scope of another company called SGS. Here you can able to see that SGS, they don't have all the scope. They have the scope only limited to non-active.
But we are not able to see the scope when we are going to that SGS or TUV Sud.
So sorry.
It's not visible on the screen. So there is
okay. Okay, it's not visible. Okay, I am just
yeah.
Okay. I have to again share it. Okay, fine.
No, so basically when we are going to the scope, while going over that, so we are not able to see that. Otherwise,
Okay, fine.
yeah.
So now you are able to see the scope, right?
Yes, right.
Yeah. Now you are able to see the scope of TB suit. You can see that TB suit has a scope for non-active medical devices, for active implantable, for the in vitro diagnostic, and also for the sterilization of medical devices. But if you can see the scope for the SGS, I will share you the screen for the SGS scope also. Now here you can see the scope of SGS. They don't have a scope for all the devices. They have only limited to the non-active, active, and IVDs and other sterilizations. So it is a responsibility of the startups to cross-check whether the certification bodies whom they are going to get engaged with, they have all the scope with them or not. And you have asked the evidence from the certification body, kindly provide me all the scopes so that you can cross verify with it. Now I will be going to show you the walk through the European Union website. Suppose if you want to go for the either for a C certification or for the EN ISO 13485. So how to select or how to identify a correct notified body. So are you able to see the notified body list?
No, it's on the quality management system, SGS India. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Now you are able to see it.
Yes, right.
Yeah. So here you can able to see that this is the website for the European Commission, right? And you have to write on the Google. I will just start from the very beginning so you can have a very good, or if you can go on the European Union website, on the left hand side you can able to see the requirement of legislations under the single market and standard. So there you can able to select the regulations called EU 2017/745 on medical devices. Now, if once you able to select, you can able to see the list of notified bodies over here. There are total 14 companies right now. But from the total 14 companies which are notified by the European Commission, only few are present in India. The companies which are present in India are BSI, DNVGL, Intertech, TB Renland, and TB Sud. So if you want to go for the certifications, you have to select from this notified body only. Now we are again selecting, suppose we are going to select the BSI. Here you can see that BSI is got selected, right? So now here the various regulations are there, right? We have to select from these regulations. For the medical devices, we have to select the PDF. So you can see over here, the intent of showing this PDF is that you can see the scope. It means here you can see the product family, product or intended use. So you have to see that whether your product is present over here or not, or whether this notified body is able to do the audit or not. So this is the entire scope, a detailed scope of the BSI notified body. It's a very huge, around 6 to 7 pages of the document where you have to see that in which category your device is falling into it. Here you can see the software. If you are manufacturing a standalone software as a medical devices, or you are manufacturing a artificial intelligence based software for the medical devices, so the BSI is had a scope. So accordingly, you have to see for the active rehabilitation, active dental devices, or for the dental materials, for the non-active orthopedic implants, functional implants. You have to select from these whether they had a particular scope or not, and then accordingly you have to select the notified bodies. So till now, any of the participants have any questions? So I will let you. I will answer your queries pertaining to what is 13485 and how to select the notified bodies. Your questions are most welcome right now.
Right. So I think we have questions from Bala and Frederick. So let's take them first. So Bala asked what license I should apply for manufacturing diagnostic kits.
Yeah, for the medical diagnostic kits, the basic requirement that you should have a quality management system as per the requirement of 13485. And for the manufacturing of diagnostic kit, you have to apply in MD form number 3. You have to go on the Sugam portal, and on the Sugam portal, you have to apply under the form number MD form number 3. So you can able to select, there are two options you will see, the option for the medical devices and option for the IVD. So accordingly you have to apply, you have to upload all the documents for getting the manufacturing license for the diagnostic kits.
Right, perfect. So we have a question from Frederick. He wants to ask if there is a standard checklist where he could identify the applicable clauses and exclude those which doesn't apply to the intended medical device.
No, as per the 13485, there is no any specific checklist. Accordingly to your medical devices intended use, that clauses you can able to include and exclude. There is no
Your voice is breaking, Mrs. Zad. Hello? Hello, Mrs. Zad? I think there's this network issue from Mrs. Zad's end. Hello, Mrs. Zad? Can you hear me? Hello? Let me ask him to just wait. Yeah, so I just had word with Mr. Zar. So the network got disconnected from his side. So he's just reconnecting now. Let's wait for a few minutes. So Mr. Siddharth is joining in 2 minutes. So his network is back again.
Hello. Yeah, sorry for the
Hi.
disturbance. Yeah, hi. Yeah, so we are talking on the questions part, right?
Right, right. So we are on the question from Mr. Frederick. So he wanted to know, is there a standard checklist where we could identify the applicable clauses or which are not applied on the intended medical device?
Actually, I'm lost again. So, what's the question was?
Yeah, so question from Frederick is he wants to ask if there is any standard checklist where to identify the applicable clauses which are applied on the intended medical device.
No, there is no any very specific standard checklist. You have to see with respect to your device intended use and device description, what clauses you can able to exclude and what clauses you can able to include from your quality management system. You have to customize the checklist. There is no standard checklist available.
Right. Okay, so we have the next question from Frederick itself. So he wants to ask, what is your opinion on outsourcing the RA and all paperwork? Because he used to receive mixed reviews to a startup team in the company. Also, do we have one unified system where we can shortlist the notified bodies based on the scope?
Yeah, so there is that's what I have shown you the NAB and you have NABCB website and the European Commission website. So from there you can able to choose the notified bodies depending upon your intent to market your device. So you can from there you can able to choose it.
Right. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Frederick. We have question from Mr. Karthik now. So for a digital X-ray detector, what are the certification required in India, both in terms of product and process?
For the X-ray is going to get regulated by the different agency.
For, for
For
digital X-ray detectors, for digital.
for the digital access detector, you have to get it the product certified from the Atomic Baba Institute, who and atomic cell of the India. There are different cell. I will let you know in detail about the different agencies which are involved into it. So you have to get your product certified from there. Also, keeping in line with the requirement of 13485 and other medical device standard.
Right, right. So we have the question next from Rohit Gorepati. What is the difference between an active and non-active medical device?
The difference between active and non-active medical devices mean that active means that it needs any energy source or electricity, either a battery or with the help of external. So it means by an active medical devices. Any devices which require an external energy source to operate, it is called an active medical device. So the opposite of active is non-active. So anything which doesn't require any source, like a product called intraocular lens, or a very simple device like surgical instruments, right? So it doesn't require any external energy source. So in that case, it falls under the non-active medical devices.
Right. We have the next question from Mr. Samir Karaz. Is CE marking of medical devices fulfill all the requirements for selling in India?
Yeah, if you are fulfilling the requirement of C certifications, so around 98% or 99% of your requirement of selling your product in India will get also fulfilled. Because if you see the requirement of device master file in India, as per the Indian medical device rule, we call it a device master file, right? And if you see the requirement for C certification, they call it a technical dossiers, right? But of course, the in depth about the document which is required in C certificate is higher as compared to the Indian medical device rule. So if you fulfill all the requirement of C certification, you automatically fulfill the requirement of Indian medical device rule also.
Okay, perfect. Next, we have a question from Dr. Ashok. So for disposable device using ventilator circuit, so what is the license required for that?
For if they are only a disposable, so yeah, of course they are right now. You need to have a manufacturing license from them also.
Right.
For a disposable, like you had the ventilator circuits. He might be talking about the ventilator circuits and the ambu bag and other things. So yeah, so now you are going to, because right now they are under a non-notified or non-regulated categories. You have to so apply under the Sugam portal under the non-regulated category.
Okay, perfect. Hope that answers your question, Dr. Ashok. You can ask the follow-up questions if you have any in the chat section, or raise your hand. We can unmute you then. Yeah. So we have the question from Aditya from Level Alpha. So he wants to ask if there are government agencies or institutions which have the ISO 13485 certifications, since Sud and Greenland are expensive to deal with.
They are.
So since there are any government agencies or institutions which deal with the ISO 13485 certification, and while I mean, Sud and Greenland are expensive to deal with.
Currently, the Bureau Standard of India, they are coming up with one scheme where they can able to certify. But again, if I talk to you about, they are right now not NABCB accredited, and they don't have right now an NABCB accreditation from the Quality Control of India, and also they don't have a qualified auditors pool right now. They are mostly rely on the external consultants. So as of now, there is no any government agency who can able to give you the ISO 13485.
Okay. Right. So hope that answers your question, Aditya. Next, we have a question from Mr. Rohit. For a surgical instrument manual retractors, what licenses are required?
For surgical instrument manual?
Yeah, so there is manual retractor. So what
Okay.
licenses are required for that?
Okay. A surgical instrument manual retractor. Okay. Yeah, for a retractor, all the surgical instruments, you read the standard or the definition of medical device, an instrument or apparatus. It is clearly written on the definition of medical devices. So your surgical instrument is coming under the apparatus or is defined under that. So yeah, of course, currently it is a non-regulated devices. But yeah, you need to go for the manufacturing license as per the Sugam portal.
Okay, manufacturing license. Okay. So next question we have from Mr. Praveen. So they are developing a headphones that is structured computer mouse. So they want to ask if there's the assistive what type of accreditation and certification is required for the assistive tech for differently able people.
Yeah, so in that case, see, I talked to you, I have already been talking about that. You have to identify any product related standard for your devices. Suppose if you don't have any product related standard for your device, then you have to prepare an in-house specification of performance data with respect to your device. So accordingly, you have to assess your devices with respect to that performance parameters. So again, if you want to sell the product in India or other countries, so of course you need to go for the certification which I am talking about since morning from 2045 or other Indian MDR requirements. So the first thing is that you have to identify your product related standard. If the product related standard is not available, then you have to prepare your specifications related to the performance of your data in-house, and then you have to validate your medical devices accordingly to that.
Right. Hope that answers the question, Mr. Praveen. We have the next question from Mr. Frederick. So he wants to know, is it a good idea to outsource RA or paperwork? So I think we have taken this question previously. So let's go through it again. So he wants to ask, is it a good idea to outsource RA and paperwork for Indian MDR, or do you suggest a setup from the own team in the company?
I will not going to suggest to have the own team, because to hire the medical device regulatory affair having good understanding and experience, it will going to have an add-on burden to you. So since the scope of work currently is very limited, you only want to go for the manufacturing license, right? And this work will get over within the time span of around 3 to 4 month timeline, right? So if you are going to hire a full-time employee, so you will be having a liability of paying in on the monthly basis, right? So yeah, I will not say that you hire a regulatory affair professional in your for a full time, but I will recommend to hire one quality assurance person. The role of quality assurance person will be that they will help in implementing the or documenting your day-to-day activity in the specified format of ISO 13485, which is very important.
Right. Sure. And we have the question from Mr. Parao. So they are developing an AI software product. They want to ask what certification are required to sell the product in India and abroad.
For AI coming under the cyber security requirements, so you are now get liable to the cyber security laws for the medical devices, HL7, HIPAA compliant, and a lot of software validations as per the 62304. And these are the particular requirements which you have to assess your AI platform against with. So to get the approval either in India, or if you want to go for the USFD 510K, or you want to go for the C certifications. The basic requirement is cyber security law, HL7, HIPAA compliant. You have to get abide with it.
Okay, perfect. So next we have question from Rachaveti Dhanush, and it's quite long, so I'd rather unmute you. Yeah, I'm just unmuting you so that I ask your question. Yeah.
Sir, my name is Dr. R. Dhanush.
Yeah, hi sir.
Hello, sir. So, Mike, actually, I'm a senior research assistant working in KIIT Neurotechnologies. So, we manufacture a medical monitoring device that monitors movement of Parkinson's disease patient and speech assistive devices. So, based on my knowledge, so prior to this meeting, I have only few knowledge, and now I've got some substantial knowledge on accreditation. So based on my prior knowledge, I was thinking that for Indian market, so both these devices comes under Class B classification of CDSCO.
Right.
For US market, so these are the two major markets we are planning to approach. So as per FDA regulation, I thought that it comes under Class 2 of classification. Is it correct, sir?
See, I have to see, for if you are planning to enter the USA market for the 510K route, right? So there are the various product standard, there are the various, we call it a regulatory number, or we call it a different product code for the different devices. So I have to cross check with respect to your device intended use and device description that what classification or what product code or what regulatory number. Like in USA, there's a regulatory number called 21 CFR. Suppose I take an example of 21 CFR 878. So 878 talk about a general requirement of all the medical devices falling under the requirement of general hospital use. So if you go under that, there are the further regulatory number starting from 21 CFR 878.40404045. So I have to again check with respect to your device, intended use, device description, what particular regulatory number is going to applicable to you, and accordingly what product code will be best suited for you. Then accordingly you have to strategize or you have to go plan for the 510K activities for the USA market.
Okay, sir. For sir, one follow-up question, sir. So for Indian market, I was thinking that this comes under Class B. Is it correct, sir? For risk
yeah,
and
I have to again see your. I have to go through your device intended use. Then only I can able to give you the best answer whether it's falling under A or B.
Okay, actually, this is the device is a monitoring device, sir. It is a wearable device on the hand or on the legs, and so it will assist them on their movements. And
okay, so it's a type of physiotherapy device where is helping in recording all the movements of when the patient undergo any physiotherapy, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, then in that case, your device is falling under Class B regulation.
Okay, sir. So that's on, sir. Both these devices which I'm speaking about, actually, it's an electronic device. Should I need to apply for this IEC 6060?
Yeah. So it's one of the very mandatory requirement for all of the active medical device manufacturers. Without 60601 compliance, EMI/MC and safety testing, you are not able to get any approval either from India or from Europe or from the USA.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. I understood. So thanks for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Gaurav, for actually giving me this opportunity to speak since the question was long.
Thank you.
Thank you
So much. Yeah. So we have question from Mrs. Sumi now. So he asked, do competent authorities in India ask for CE mark of imported medical devices to the Indian mark? When could that happen? So
Indian CE mark is right now in future. We call it IC mark will going to come, but I don't know when it's going to come. We are discussing this IC mark from last 10 years from the government, but I don't know when it's going to come. The IC mark which is going to replace the CE mark in India, but hopefully it will going to come one day.
Right.
And for do competent authority in India ask for CE mark for imported medical devices? Yes. When you want to enter the Indian market, you have to again submit the entire dossiers for the import registration. And for the import registration, two of the important requirement is again 13485 and CE marking of the company to whom you are importing the device in India.
I hope that answers the question, Mr. Samir. So we have so Aditya says, I think we surely, I think we should have our own NABL accredited agency as well. Sure. I mean, yes, that is required. So we have a question from Dr. Megha. What all certification apart from radiation regulatory bodies required for X-ray sources as well as digital X-ray detector? And how long does it take for certification process? Is it advisable to get third-party manufacturer or self-manufacturing is better in long term? So it's a long question. So, and what are universal requirements for launch in global markets? Also, what all certifications required for an ambulance with all emergency inventory, since there we have several devices and instruments. Yeah. Take the first part of the question. What all certifications are required for?
All certifications are required. Yeah, again, for all certifications, despite from getting the approval from the radiation regulatory body, again, you have to identify different 60601 standard particular to your X-ray source. If you go and see the list of IC 60601 standard, there is a very particular part the part 2 is going to be get applicable to you. Many other 60601 standard called -2, -4, -2, -11, -2, -8 will going to get applicable to you. -2, -4 talk about the alarm. -2, -8 it talk about the requirement of usability. So there are different parts that we have to assess with respect to your device, which standard will going to get applicable, and we have to prepare an entire metric system of what we call it a list of all the applicable standards which going to get used for your device. You have to prepare an entire matrix, and accordingly you have to get your device tested in a NABL accredited laboratory only. How long does it take for a certification process? For if you want to go for the C certifications, currently the timeline to get a C certifications is around 9 to 12 months to get the C certifications on your hand. Only in that case, if you have done all the testings like the 60601 and the usability engineering and the other aspects beforehand. Because to do all this testing, it will take around 3 to 4 month timeline itself. It is advisable, no, if on a longer term you want to enter into the manufacturing on longer term, yeah, if I say on longer term, having your own manufacturing facility will be a better, because in that case you have the entire control on your product quality and its safety and efficacy also. So you are not going to rely on the manufacturers. So you can say that you have an entire control on your product, starting from the design and development up to the selling of your device. What are the universal requirements? So for the universal requirement, if you are fulfilling the requirement of C certification and US FDA 510K, you can able to sell your product in almost all the countries. And what are the universal requirements and what are the certifications required for an ambulance with all emergency inventory? For the ambulance, I have to get back to you what are the certification agency for the ambulance, because ambulance inventory, if they are very specific product which is going to use in the ambulance, then yeah, definitely there's a product standards and ISO is available. But for the ambulance, I have to check and I will have to get back to you for the ambulance specifically.
Right. So I think that answers your question, Dr. Megha. Next we have, yeah, I think, yeah, we have covered. Thank you so much, everyone. No, so we have question from RM Medi. So the question is how we start a ISO 13485 certification process, whether we should have a IEC 60601-1 certification before ISO 13485 certification.
No, first you have to implement the system. You have to validate your manufacturing process, and from the prototype or from the final product which is developed from after all the validations, from that product only you have to go for the 60 or any type of testing, because you have to provide the batch number, lot number, everything to the testing agency, and only you can able to do that when your entire process is validated. Suppose you have a process of welding or soldering into your process when you are manufacturing it, so you have to validate the soldering and the welding process as per the requirement which you are enlisted. So accordingly, you have to prepare a well-detailed master validation plan for your product, and you have to validate it. And after only the validation, you have to manufacture your device, and then accordingly, you have to go for the testings.
Right, and I think the next question is whether we should have IEC 60601 certification before ISO 13485 certification.
Yeah, I have already answered that. How much it will cost for 13485? The cost, if you select only a notified body which is NABCB approved, and you only intend to market your product in India, the certification cost for 3 years, it range from 2 lakhs to 3.5 lakh rupees for 3 years, because ISO 13485 is applicable only for 3 years. With every year, a surveillance audit will going to take place. And suppose if you want to apply for C certification also, and you want to hire a notified body for European Union, suppose if you want to hire a BSI or you want to hire a TU Inland or TU Sud, then their ISO 13485 certification cost starting from rupees 4 lakh rupees to 7 lakh rupees for 3-year timeline.
Right. Okay. So next question we have from Dr. Ashok. In case of third-party manufacturing of medical device, who has to apply for the certificate? The manufacturing company or the inventing company?
No, for applying to the third-party manufacturing, now in that case, the manufacturing company, it means the outsourcing company should have the basic 13485 requirement, and then the manufacturing company or the inventor company should have to apply for the manufacturing license. In that case, the requirement of loan license will become applicable to them, because they don't have their own manufacturing facility. They are rely on some other manufacturing facility. So the inventor company, they have to apply for the loan license, manufacturing company, to get the manufacturing license.
Right. Perfect. So I think, yeah, we have covered most of the questions till now. And yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Megha. Yeah, we'll share the Siddharth Jain's contact with you in the last slides. I think we have it. And I think we can resume these slides then now.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. In the meantime, you can keep posting the questions here, or you can raise your hands. We can ask the questions while unmuting you. Thank you so much, everyone, for asking the questions and making this session very interactive.
Now, I hope they are able to see the slide, right?
Yes, right. No, so yeah, it's full screen now. Yeah, thank you.
Now, many misconception is that 13485 is similar to ISO 9001. Yeah, it is similar, but for the medical device manufacturers, ISO 13485 is a Bible for the quality management system to get applied into it. Oh, just a minute. Yeah. Fine. The ISO 9001 is more focused on the customer satisfaction and continual improvement, right? So for the medical device manufacturers, ISO 134 is not equal to ISO 9001. I will be moving ahead right now. So now I will be talking more about what are the different clauses of 13485 and how you should one company should going to get implement the 13485 into their system. So 13485, as you all know, they have total 8 different clauses. Section 1 or clause 1 talk about the scope. So what do you mean by the scope? The scope means that whenever a manufacturing company is applying for a certification, or when they are implementing the 13485, they have to identify and they have to document to what are the total scope of the certification or the quality management system. I will just state you a few of the examples over here. Suppose a company is manufacturing a reusable surgical instrument. In that case, the scope will be a design, development, manufacturing, distribution, and sale of surgical reusable instrument for after the for you can able to write its intended use, whether it's going to get used either in a very specific gastroenterology or urology or cardiology. Suppose your product is also going to be get installed, or you are providing the service to the end user, then the scope can get revised. The scope will get revised in design, development, manufacturing, distribution, installation, and sale of particular device. Suppose a device for X-ray machine, because in X-ray machine you are providing the installation service also and installation activity also and servicing activity also. Now, further to that, suppose you are manufacturing any sterile medical devices. In that case, the scope will be a design, development, manufacturing, and sale of sterile intraocular lens. Here you have seen that why I am here giving an emphasis on design and development part. Reason being that being a startup company, being an innovative company, you cannot able to exclude the causal requirement of design and development. So, therefore, the design and development is one of the very important clause which is become mandatory for all the medical device startups. You cannot able to remove the design and development scope. A company can able to remove the design and development scope only in the case where they are not involved in any design and development activities, or they are not doing any innovative medical devices. So they can able to remove the design and development from the scope. In that case, the scope will be as such: the manufacturing, distribution, and sale of gastroenterology medical devices. Here we have removed the design development from the scope. So you have to well define the scope with respect to the device which you are manufacturing or the product which you are intend to market into the market. Now the second clause or second section here we call it a normative reference. What you mean by the normative reference is mean that what all applicable standard starting from ISO 9001 or ISO 13485 or the Indian Medical Device Rule or ISO 60601 or ISO 62366, but all particular standard will be going to get applied to your product, to your standard or to your system. You have to write well in detailed manner over here under a section called normative reference. Section 3 talk just about the what are the different terms and definitions of the which is enlisted in the ISO 13485 standard. Now I will be talking more in detail about the 4 different clauses. There are the clauses of section 4. Clause 4 talk about the quality management system requirement in journal. Section or clause 4 talk about the management responsibility. Clause 6 talk about the resource management or the HR activities. Clause 7 is very important because it talk about the product realization or it talk about the manufacturing activities, where in the case of the medical device startups, you are outsourcing this activity to the third party. The clause 7, you are outsourcing it to the third party. Clause 8 talk about the measurement, analysis, and improvement. So, many other startups we have questioned that since we are not doing the manufacturing activity in-house, so whether the 13485 is going to get applicable to you, us, or not. My answer is yes, because as per the 13485, you are only outsourcing one particular section of the clause. Clause 7, you are only doing it from the contract manufacturing company, but all the clauses like clause 4, clause 5, 6, and 8 is still going to get applicable to you. So therefore, ISO 13485 is still applicable to you, whether you have your own manufacturing facility or you are outsourcing your manufacturing facility to some other companies. So here I will be talking more about the clause 4. Now, clause 4 talk about the general requirements of quality management system. What documents you should prepare? What are the requirements of what we call it quality formats? What are the different levels of the documents? What you mean by the outsourcing of your any other process? What you mean by the quality agreements? It's all talk about in quality management system under clause 4. So here I will be giving major emphasizing on 4 to 5 aspects. Just listen me very carefully. The one of the major impact or the document which you have to prepare is the risk based approach of the quality management system, which I talked earlier also. You have to define all the processes, and accordingly you have to carry out the risk-based approach. This is the one of the major document which you have to prepare. The second important document is, which is very important, is you have to identify and you have to prepare the different levels of the documents. Level of the documents means the level one or the hierarchy, what we call it. The first document is a quality manual. Second is quality procedures or the SOPs. The third is the quality formats or the where the document you are going to document it. Then the quality plan and the test methods and the quality policy. So there are the different levels which are going to get interlinked with each other. The quality manual is interlinked with quality procedures. The quality procedures is again interlinked with the quality manual. Then the quality procedures is interlinked with quality formats. Then the quality formats is interlinked with your test methods, quality plan. So you have to prepare the hierarchy of the documents and you have to see how they are interlinked with each others. The third very important document which you have to have in the under the clause requirement is the list of all the outsourced activities. Suppose you are outsourcing the manufacturing to some other company. So you have to enlist that you are outsourcing the manufacturing activity to some different companies. So accordingly, you have to do all the assessment of that external manufacturing company or outsourcing company pertaining to the requirement of ISO 13485, that whether the company where to whom you are outsourcing the manufacturing activity are they have complied all the requirement of 13485 or not, or whether they have the 13485 certificate or not. These are the two major requirements, and most of the medical device startup they fail considerably in this, that they have selected the outsourcing partner, but they have not done the due diligence activity. They don't. Most of the outsourcing company, they don't have a particular 13485 system in place, or they don't have a 13485 certification from an NABCB approved certification body. Further to that, the one of the major requirements here states that the requirements of quality agreements. So, and the quality agreement is directly interlinked with the document of outsource. You have to prepare a complete list of outsourcing companies, right? So you are now carried out the quality agreement with all these outsourcing companies. You are outsourcing any activity like the testing activities, validation activities, activities for certifications, activities for manufacturing. So it is a responsibility of the manufacturers to go and execute a quality agreement with them. When you are executing a quality agreement, so what are the important aspects which you have to consider? The important aspects are whether they have a proper certification or not. Are they give you all the documents pertaining to device which you are manufacturing, which they are liable to manufacture for you or not? Whether all the testing parameters they are fulfilling or not, whether they have giving the permission to get their facility audit by the third party agency or third party certification body is or not. So these are the basic requirements which you had to see and you had to include in your quality agreements. There are the various huge requirements depending upon the activity which you are doing it, whether you are doing the testing activity, so you have to formulate the quality agreement accordingly. If you are doing the manufacturing or you are outsourcing any of the critical raw material, so accordingly to that you have to formulate the quality agreement and you have to execute it. Most of the companies, they are receiving the major NCs under this clause only because they are not fulfilling the requirement of actual activity and they have not executed the quality agreement in a and they are not having all the clauses requirement meeting in the quality agreements.
Hello, Mrs. Siddharth. Are you there, Mrs. Siddharth? I think they've lost him. Let me just try to call him on his phone. So this is a network issue again with Mr. Siddharth. He's just joining in a few minutes. He's trying to reconnect. Yeah.
I think there is a huge problem from my side this time. I don't know why the network is
Yeah, no, it's okay. I think there is network issues keep happening. But yeah, this is the first time happening with you.
This is the first time it's happening. I don't know why it's happening.
Hanji. Sure, no worries. Yeah, we continue.
So we have completed the clause 4 requirement. Now I'm moving to the clause 5 requirement because number of slides are very huge. So I have to quickly go ahead with all the clause requirements. So clause 5 requirement talk about the management responsibility. So I will be just giving you major information on what are the important aspects which you have to consider while you are going to implement the 1345 system. So in clause number 5, the important aspect is that you have to formulate a quality policy for your manufacturing facility or your system. Quality policy is one. The second important thing is quality objective, and quality objective should be measurable, and you should have some deadline to achieve it. So quality objective, what do you mean by quality objective? Quality objective of HR department I talked to you about here. For example, it means that suppose you have a team of around 25 people and they don't have a knowledge of 1345. So it is a responsibility or a HR team to get all the qualifications done as per the 1345. So they can say the current level of understanding to the all the employee is around 15%, and they want to increase the knowledge from 15% to suppose 75%. And how to achieve their knowledge? They are conducting some type of external training programs to their employees so that they can increase their knowledge with respect to 13485. Give you an example of production. Suppose in production you are saying that a rejection level of around 7% year to year, but now you want to decrease that rejection level from 7% to 4%. So this is become your objective, which is measurable. And now you have to see what are the different ways of reducing it while having an internal brainstorming with your team. So for each and every different processes, you have to define a quality objective which is measurable, and you have to review and you have to define its review frequency, whether you are going to review your objective once in a 3 month, or once in a 6 month, or or yearly. So you have to define, you have to prepare an entire metric system for your quality objective. So clause 5 also talk about the management review meeting. The management review meeting, here I talk to you about the management review meeting. So management review meeting is very important in respect to whenever any audit is happening. For the management review meeting, what are the different inputs of any internal external audits, any feedback which you have received with respect to your product from your market, any status for preventive and corrective actions, CAPA, which you have taken, follow from any previous management review meetings, any regulatory standards, what are the recommendations from improvements. So all these points which you had to discuss at a time of management review meeting. So it is a responsibility of the management representative, which you are going to appoint in your quality management system to formulate a management review meeting and share all the agendas to all the different stakeholders and conduct the management review meeting. Most of the company, they are conducting the management review meeting once in a 6 month, but you can increase the frequency if you are a startup, because you need a very day-to-day brainstorming with respect to your product improvement, with respect to the feedback which you are receiving from the market or from a doctor. So you can able to also increase the frequency once in a 2 months or once in a 3 months to have a well-detailed management review meeting for your products. Here I'm just giving a case study over here. Company A established their quality system 5 years ago. Their year production was double that of 5 years ago. 6 months ago, SM is a company name, SM installed an ATO sterilization chamber and started distributing sterile device. Several sterilization lot has failed, and SM performed management review meeting annually. So is annual management review sufficient? So here I can say that the frequency of annual review meeting is not sufficient. They have to increase their number of MRM, management review meeting, because they have seen several ETO lots failed, and it is going to have a direct impact on their market and their credentials. So accordingly to the market report feedback or anything, you have to redefine the frequency of your management review meeting. Now the clause 6 talk more about the HR requirement, right? The clause 6 talk about the requirement of human resources. What are the competency requirement you should have it when you are going for the recruitment of any of the professionals? The competency should be seen with respect to the experience, skill, and qualification. These are the major 3 parameters which they have to assess, and they have to plan a competency matrix for different positions, and accordingly they have to do the recruitment activities. Clause 6 also talk about the infrastructure requirements. It is a responsibility of the HR or the top management that whether all the resources which is required for the manufacturing of your medical devices is present or not. Whether all the software, hardware, equipment, machinery, support services, working space are available or not. If it is not available, it is a responsibility of the HR department or the top management to provide and fulfill all the requirements. Here I talk about again the work environment. Here the work environment like the process equipments, controlled environment, clean room. Personal is also talk about the personal health hygiene also. Suppose you are manufacturing a product which require a clean room or which require an ETO sterilization. So the qualification of personnel with respect to their cleanliness is also very much required. What are the requirements for the governance systems is also very important in that case. So you have to prepare a well-defined system into your quality management system, stating that what are the requirements for the person to get qualified to get enter into the clean room requirements. I just giving you an example of clean room. An electrical outlet in the clean room is not working. An electrician has been called to replace it. SOP or the procedures required employees who work in the clean room to wear a hair cover, face mask, shoe covers, lab coat and gloves. So the electrician follow the same counting procedures. Why and why not? So here I will give you the answer yes. The electrician should also follow this SOP of gowning because irrespective he is entering into a clean room requirement. So any of the professionals, any of the employee, whether they are outsourced company or is a full-time employee, they have to follow the SOPs. Now here the important clause 7 comes about. Now clause 7 talks about the production activities of the product, which in most of the cases you are outsourcing or you are relying on some other companies to do that. So the clause 7 talk more about, clause 7.1 talk more about the planning of the manufacturing activities, determination of customer requirements, customer communications, design and development requirements, purchasing requirements, what are the production and servicing requirements, control of monitoring and measurement devices, and record keeping requirements. I will be taking care of each and every different clauses from here onwards. So planning of product realization being that whenever you are receiving an order, suppose you are receiving an order of 50 of your product to sell in the market. So you have to do a planning. You cannot just randomly start manufacturing your product, or you cannot just randomly give the order to your outsourcing company. You have to have a clear-cut plan or strategy with you. You have to have a clear objective and requirement with respect to your device which you are going to manufacture, and that requirement you have to clearly communicate it to your third-party manufacturer. And what are the specifications of your device you are going to manufacture? What are the requirements that should be clearly communicated to your outsourcing partner? You have to give them the entire BOM. BOM means bill of material should be given along with the order. Suppose you are giving an order of 100 pieces, then accordingly the BOM should be generated either by your company or by the outsourcing company, and accordingly the raw materials pertaining to that device should be procured by that outsourcing company. Also, the lifetime or the record retention should also be well defined, that both by your company and also by the outsourcing medical device company. What are the record when you are able to keep, whether you are keeping for 2 years, whether you are keeping for 5 years, or whether you are keeping for 7 years. So how you are going to formulate this time period? Suppose your product is going to get intended has a life period of 2 years. So from 2 years you can able to add 2 more years. So you are liable to keep the records of your device up to a period of 4 years. Now, for all the planning stage, you have to prepare what we call it a requisition sheet. You have to prepare a requisition sheet, you have a planning sheet, and accordingly you have to give all these documents to your outsourcing partner. Now the customer related process. Focus is on product and service to be supplied. This includes requirements related to product, design input and output for a new product development, customer delivery expectations versus delivery schedules, customer feedback and communications related to order placed or product delivered, regulatory or legal requirements, and design-related factors included in customer orders, unspecified customer expectations. So you have to see that what are the customer-related process and requirements, and whether your product which you are going to manufacture is fulfilling or not. Clause 7.3 is one of the very important requirements for any other medical device startup. It talks about the design and development, or what are the different steps over here. I'm not going in detail in clause 7.3 because the next session which I'm taking, it talk in detail about the clause 7.3 or about the design and development of your medical devices. What all you should consider while you are going to having a design and development of your devices, and how to prepare a design history dossier or design and development document. I am just giving you the brief overview. In the next session, I will be talking in depth about the design and development planning. It also talk about the design and development inputs, design and development output requirements, design and development review, design development verifications and validation activities, and design development changes and design development transfer. I will be covering all these 6 and 7 major topics well in detail in 2 hour sessions in our next, I think so, in coming Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday we are having same time 11:30 to 1:30. And,
So,
and the meeting link for the webinar remains same. So for the whole series, so whoever has joined, the link will remain same.
okay, great. That's great. So I will be talking right now about the clause 7.4. Clause 7.4 talk about the purchasing activities. So what are the criteria of selection of your vendor? You have to define it, because the supplier evaluation is very important in ISO 13485 clause 7.4. You have to, because each and every supplier, suppose you are supplier of raw material, supplier of servicing, supplier of any support services, you have a well-defined criteria for the evaluation of your supplier or outsourcing company or procedure. And accordingly, you have to evaluate it. Either you have to send an evaluation sheet, or you have to go at their site and you have to evaluate them. You have to evaluate them in the aspects, what we call it, the requirements of quality management system, with the product which they are supplying, the quality, the timeline, with respect to the pricing activities. There are different criteria which you have to prepare depending upon the supplier. And then accordingly you have to do the supply evaluation. Once the supply evaluation has been completed, then you can able to say that you are preparing an entire matrix of all the critical and non-critical supplier, and accordingly you are doing all the purchasing activity from the supplier. You are not able to purchase your product from outside that list. You cannot purchase any single item if you have not done a supply evaluation and you have included into a list of approved supplier, and you have to give the different ratings from A, B, C, and D, and accordingly you have to purchase your product from the vendor. Also, one of the very important criteria is about the monitoring activity of the supplier. You have to well define in your procedures at what timeline you are going to monitor your supplier or your raw material or any services, whether you are doing on 3-month timeline or 6-month timeline or yearly. And that monitoring data you have to prepare and you have to submit it during the time of management review meeting to the top management. Also, there's a requirement of revalidation, remonitoring. There is a complete cycle which is ongoing. So the first step is the evaluation, re-evaluation, monitoring. Again, evaluation, re-evaluation and monitoring at a defined frequency of time. This is your typical cycle which any other medical device manufacturer's purchasing department should fulfill. So whenever you are doing any purchasing, so you are preparing either a performer invoice and you are sending to your supplier. Along with that performer invoice, you have to provide them the entire specification of your raw material, which is prior approved by your top management or the management representative. That sheet, or we call it a specification sheet, you have to send them with each and every purchasing order to your supplier, and it is the responsibility of the production department when any of the raw material which we have purchased, when they are coming at time of delivery, it is the responsibility of the store department to cross check that whether the raw material which they have ordered is complying with the requirement of our technical specification or raw material specification or not, and then only you are able to make the or take the order or raw material entry into your department. If it is not fulfilling your specification, you can able to reject your raw material. So these are all the things which you have to consider while when you are doing the purchasing, human requirement, method of communication, responsibilities, everything we have to consider over there. Here I talk about the verification of purchased product. It is the responsibility of the manufacturers that each and every shipment should be compliant with their enhanced specifications. The product which you are receiving is properly identified and undamaged, and you are doing this sampling and carrying out the incoming raw material inspections as per your specifications. Then only you are going to get your raw material entry into your system. If any other step is not fulfilled, you are not able to get make the entry into your system. Clause 7.5 talks about the production and service provisions. So what are the infrastructure requirements, documentation requirements, impact on the quality and regulatory requirements, output from a risk management activity which we have done it under clause 4, what are the suitable equipment and the processes is going to be required, all should be well defined under clause 7.5. Clause 7.5, I already talked about that, is you have to prepare a well and exhaustive master validation plan for your product and for your process. You have to identify all the key processes and which will going to impact on your device if that process will not happen accurately. So here you can apply the risk-based approach, and accordingly you have to validate all your process. I have already given you the two example of welding, example of soldering, example of packaging, example of ETO validations. So there are different key processes which a company should validate it, and they have to qualify all the equipment, personnel responsible for doing that process. You cannot change the person that in one day, suppose Mr. Ramesh is doing the packaging process, and on next day Mr. Pawan is doing the packaging process. You have to well define only a single process, single person for carrying out all the process. You cannot have a you can do a validation for multiple person, but only in that case if that person have got are trained and they are qualified for carrying out that process, then only he can able to do that process for the validations. So for validation, what are the requirements? The requirement are the installation qualification, operational qualification, and personal qualification. So installation qualification is the requirement of your of your supplier. Suppose if you are buying an instrument or equipment, so this is a responsibility of your vendor to carry out the installation qualification. And operational qualification and performance qualification is the responsibility of the medical device manufacturers to carry it out. Under the operational qualifications, the person who is going to do this process, they are getting qualified over there. And at the time of performance qualifications with respect to different criteria and different SOPs which we have prepared, the performance qualifications should be carried out for the processes or for the machine which we have installed at your manufacturing activity. So the important thing over here is traceability. You have to prepare the batch manufacturing starting from the purchasing activity till your dispatch. So that if in the case of any major adverse event or in the case of any adverse events is happening, when you are going to have product recall, so at that time, with the help of proper traceability matrix or traceability of your document, you can be able to recall your product from the market. So that's why traceability is very important to maintain. Starting from your raw material entry to dispatch, you have to have a batch manufacturing record, and in that batch manufacturing record, lot number, batch number should be clearly and well defined for each and every batch. So preservation of product. So preservation of product is very important. So you have to define at what temperature your product should be stored. Whether it's going to be stored at a room temperature or a very high temperature, or you need any special storage activity at certain temperature or humidity control. So accordingly, you have to do a transport validation activities for your device or for your product, so that it will get prevented from at a time of storage activity or a time of transportation activity. Clause 7 talk about the validation of monitoring and measuring devices. So what do you mean by the monitoring and measuring devices? It means that suppose if you are using any vernier caliper or any gauges, right? So it is a responsibility of the manufacturer to see that whether devices which are used during the monitoring and measuring is validated or calibrated or not, including any other softwares. Softwares which include your software for your Excel sheets, your software for your it should also be get validated pertaining to the requirements. So I'm just I have given you a brief requirement what we talk about the clause 7. Now I'm giving the introduction of clause 8. Clause 8 talk more about the monitoring and measurements. So there are different ways of doing the monitoring and measurements. The monitoring and measurements talk about the feedback, how to get the feedback, that you should have a feedback system into your quality management system, customer complaint system, into your system, so you can able to get the monitoring of your devices. Control or non-conforming product, clause 8.3 talk about the control or non-conforming product. At the time of when you are manufacturing your devices, there are the standards of rejections of your devices. So you have to clear system in place how you can able to bifurcate the conforming device and non-conforming device. You have a various tagging of your devices. Suppose a non-conforming device, you can tag it with a red color and conforming device with a green color, so that the further movement of devices from the different stages of manufacturing will become easy to the employees who are manufacturing. So there should be a well-planned, a well-defined system for how to demarcate the difference between a conforming product and non-conforming product. And accordingly, you have to carry out the CAPA for your devices. Clause 8.4 talk about the analysis of data, which is very important as per the new requirements, because each and everything you have to analyze it, whether it's a rejection level, whether it's the monitoring activities, whether the percentage of training you are doing it, whether the increase in sale you are doing it. Each and every should be well defined and analyzed, and you have to prepare a procedure for the analysis, and accordingly, all these data should be presented at the time of management review meeting. You have to analyze the feedback, you have to analyze any adverse event, the competitors' data, you have to analyze any number of kappa which you are releasing, any impact on your system. So there are different points which you have to analyze it with the help of different statistical tools over here, and that you have to present them to the top management at the time of management review meeting. Clause 8 talk about the improvements, it talk about the kappa, corrective action and preventive action, it talk about the improvements, how to go ahead for the corrective actions and how you have to go for the preventive action. It talk about the preventive actions, and it talk also about the corrective actions in the QMS, on the product, on the manufacturing process, in the metrology departments. So you have to prepare a well-detailed corrective and preventive action. So how to go ahead for the kappa? For the kappa, one of the major important requirements is to have a root cause analysis of the problem which you have received. After you have done the root cause analysis, so there are different ways of doing the root cause analysis. Either you are doing with the help of fishbone analysis or the viva analysis. So mostly there are two prominent methods which a company is using, either fishbone method or a viva analysis method. And accordingly, once you have identified the root cause, then you have to do the correction, and after the correction you have to do the corrective action and preventive action, and you have to do the verification activity of the corrective action and preventive action which you have done it. So there's an entire cycle starting from the root cause analysis, correction, corrective action, preventive action, verification of the kappa or the correction which you have done it. So accordingly, you have to prepare the kappa for each and every non-conformities which you have seen or raised in your system. So here I talk about what are the different benefits. I already talked about it helps in access in the different countries in Europe, in India, and in Canadian market. Help in to motivate staff and provide a better definition of role and key responsibilities. It reduces operational costs by highlighting process deficiencies and improving efficiencies. Increase customer satisfaction by consistently delivering quality product and systematically addressing the complaints. A proven commitment to quality through an internationally recognized standards. Add transparency to the way complaints, surveillance, or product recall are handled. So these are the various benefits you can be able to see that. I will just show you a walk through the quality manual, because the quality manual is the thing which you are going to prepare when you are going for your 1345 certification. I just very quickly giving an overview of 1345. Otherwise, give you a training of 1345 is itself a 2-day job. So that's why you have seen that I have skipped many of the slides because of the time constraint. But here I will show you the 1345 documents, so you can have a better understanding about how to go ahead and how to prepare the 1345 quality manual. Just give me a 2 minutes. I'm just opening the copy, so you can be able to share it to you. Now you are able to see the quality manual copy, right?
Right. Yes.
Right. So I just go give you an overview of what the actual quality manual it will look like about over here. This is the first page. You can write over here the all document number, date number, version number over here, and then we can. And this is typically index. You can able to see that starting from the division history, journal application, scope, what are different clauses requirement I have mentioned over here. What are the division history, how to whatever changes you are doing it, you have to well plan and define in the division history. A company introduction you have to provide over here. So here I talking about the scope. So you can just see I have written the design, development, manufacturing, and sale of nebulizers, needle burner, and syringe destroyer, air press system, and oxygen concentrator, and steam inhaler. So you can just see the scope over here. It should be well specific to your device also. Here you can see the excluded clauses. There is no any excluded clauses from this 13485. But here you can see that there are various not applicable clauses. Not applicable like solution activities, particular requirement for sterile medical devices, for the validation of ETO, because it's an active medical devices. And in active medical devices, there is no requirement for the ETO validation or ETO sterilization. And here you can see the normative reference, the various standards like the ISO 9000, ISO 9000, 13485, 14971, the different MDR requirements we have to write over here. Now the terms and conditions, what are the different abbreviations you are using it. Now here from clause 4, the main, it will start from here. Clause 4 talk about the quality management system. You have to well define and prepare according to this requirements. I'm talking about the different levels, like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. So you have to well define over here what are different levels of your documents. What are the quality manual, what are the medical device file, what are the controller documents which you have to prepare it, how you are going to control the records. You have to prepare what are the, then the clause 5 talk about the management responsibilities and everything which you have to prepare. This is just an overview. I'm just you can just see the content and the requirement which you have to prepare and for your quality management system which is going to get implemented as per the requirement of 13485. Here you can see the design development input and output which I'm going to discuss in the next session. I will be talking in the next session how to prepare design development dossiers and how to prepare and go for a design development planning to the transfer stage. So typically this is how you have to prepare a quality manual for your medical devices. Thank you. If there's any questions.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Siddharth. Yes. So we have questions. So let's take them. So there's the question from Mr. Apparao, how to get ISO 13485 for medical software product.
Sorry, your question is?
So the question is how to get ISO 13485 for medical software product.
Yeah, for medical software products, you have to validate your software as per the requirement of IEC 62304, which is requirement for medical device software validations. So once your software has got validated as per that, then you can able to go for the 13485, and you have to implement the entire thing into that. All the clauses requirement from clause 4 to clause 8.
Right. We have a question from Mr. Sameer Karaz. To which extent the ISO 13485 auditor will investigate the design and development and other technical files of the medical devices?
They will go in depth. As in depth they can go, they can able to go in depth. Yeah, but yeah, definitely they will not going to hamper your IP or any thing because they have already going to sign an NDA or a legal document with you. Yeah, but yeah, most of the cases they will cross-check with all the regulatory standards, whether you are fulfilling or not, and all the requirement aspects of your design development clause 7.3 you are fulfilling or not, or as per the US FDA requirement, a waterfall method you are fulfilling or not.
Right. So we have a question from Dr. Ashok. How many quality personnel a company has to appoint?
for a startup company, you can start from one company, but if the organization is growing and you have multiple products, so accordingly you have to assess that whether one qualified person, quality person can able to justify their work or not, or whether you have to hire more quality professionals or personnel for doing their all the day-to-day activity.
Perfect. Right. So yeah, waiting for other questions as well. If there are any, please put in a group chat or raise your hands. Yeah, so we have question from Aditya from Level Alpha. What would be the estimated overhead expenses such as the exporting license cost and export overhead headed to the US 2000 US dollar 2000 FDA class 2 monitoring device?
Overhead cost, I'm not clear of the question. Overhead?
Overhead cost that is involving of in exporting license cost. And okay, so I am unmuting you, Aditya, so you can ask your question here.
Yes, Siddharth ji, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, so our question is, it is more relevant to the exporting overheads, cost of licenses, and what would be the expenses that would be required for a device which is already FDA approved class 2 monitoring device, say an oximeter or something like that.
You want to import in India or you want to export from India?
Export from India.
Export from India, in that case, to be very frankly speaking, I have never exported anything right now. Or I have never considered, so I have no idea about what are the over expenses, because in that case, the importing company, suppose if you are exporting to USA, so all the charges are currently borne by that importing company only. You don't have to liable to pay anything.
So if the, because say if it is a sister entity, our US registered entity in that case?
Okay. So in that case, you have to see that what are the custom requirements for the USA, how much charging it will going to take for the custom clearance charges, and you have to calculate at that charges about the landing costing and the transportation costing, and for the custom charges, mostly there's a custom charges only going to get applicable to you, which you have to see. Depending upon that only, you have to calculate what are the fees of it.
Okay, Siddharth, thank you very much for the answer. Yeah.
If you are hiring DHL or any other cargo services, so they have the custom charges fixed.
You have partnerships with them, which help us. They give us a annual subscription, which is useful for companies which are working on exports regularly.
Yeah. So in that case, you can partner with them so that they will overhead the burden on you. Most of the companies which I know, they are exporting to other countries. They are not taking the burden on their own. They are taking all the importers. They are doing all the liabilities of getting it clear from the customs and paying all the custom duties.
Correct. Yeah. Thank you, Siddharth ji, again.
Thank you, Aditya. Yeah, I'm muting you now. Yeah. So next question. Yeah, sure. So Dr. Megha will be sharing the contact details. So Mrs. Siddharth, if you can on the screen share your contact details. And we have question from Dr. Ashok Badmali ji. For prototype testing, whether it has to go through regulatory compliance for fully. So is the full question?
For prototype testing, whether it has to go through a regulatory compliance for fully.
Otherwise, I'll just unmute you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you unmuting, or is Dr. Ashok coming on?
Yes. So I am just unmuting Dr. Ashok. Yeah, Dr. Ashok, you can ask your question now. Hello, Dr. Ashok. Okay, so I think we can answer.
Hello.
Yeah. Now you are.
Am I audible?
Yes.
You are audible to me. Yes. Sir.
Yes, please ask your question, Dr. Ashok.
Okay. for the medical device, the prototype has to be tested in humans, or you can tell that it's just like clinical trial for validation. Then only the manufacture and clinical use or market entry will be there. So before this market entry or large scale production, whether the prototype has to go through the full scale this all this regulatory paraphernalia or not.
Yeah, because the requirements state that whether you are going for any clinical trial or any animal studies, the product which you are going to get tested in these settings, it should be get produced from a setting from which is already having ISO 13485. In that case, it's not mandatory that you have a 25 certificate, but it's mandatory that your system should get compliant with that requirement.
Okay. That means a prototype development within a fabrication lab or with local manufacturing is not going to help.
No, yeah, it will going to be help, but you have to again cross check whether the company where you are doing all the fabrication activities, they are complying with that requirement or not. With the requirement or basic requirement of 1345. In that case, the whole requirement is not going to get applicable. Only some of the department or some of the thing will going to get applicable to them, and some will be to you. You have to again cross check with them.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Ashok. I hope that answers your question. We have any more questions, so you can put in the chat box. And we are having our next webinar on 3rd, then on 5th, then 8th and 10th. So for the webinar series, so we are putting it on alternative days on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. And if you have already registered for this webinar, so the link you have received today for today's webinar, so they'll be working for all the remaining 4 webinars now. And the next webinar is on the design and development of medical device. Then webinar 5th is on CE certification of medical device and in vitro device. Webinar 6 is on US FDA 510K of medical device and in vitro device. Webinar 7 will be on certification of requirement of PPE. And I hope this session has been useful for you and helpful for you to understand on the medical regulatory and compliances. I am sharing the webinar feedback link on the group chat, so you can share your feedback over there, and you'll also receive the e-certificate for attending the webinar as well. And in the meantime, you have any queries, you can just share it with me, or if you want to reach out Mrs. Siddharth, so Mrs. Siddharth has already shared his coordinates and details. So just let us know. So if there are any questions, so we can take them right now. Otherwise, we'll close this session for today. Okay, I think we are mostly done for the session. So yeah, for sure, look forward to the next session, which is on 3rd. Let's see you over there, and you can join at the same time, 11:30 to 1:30. We'll be doing the webinar. Thank you so much, Mr. Siddharth, for your time and such a detailed, because we haven't seen that kind of a in-depth explanation on the regulatory compliances and all. But it really
Thank you for arranging such a wonderful series of workshop.
Yeah.
It's all because of the help of your team and at KIIT-TBI that we are planning such a wonderful medical device review workshop. Because I think so this is the first of its kind happening in India, where
Right.
Business Center has facilitated such type of webinar series to help all the medtech startups to equip about what are the basic understandings about the medical device applications. From my side, it's really recommendable that KIIT-TBI has given me opportunity to go ahead for all the 7 series of
Right,
overview.
sir, right. I mean, yeah, it is actually it is required at this point of time as well, because suddenly the focus and trend has been on due to COVID situation as well. Otherwise, no one would have thought of doing such a series. But this is the right time for doing this series, and I think this is that's why we are also receiving so many questions and queries about PPEs, diagnostic kits, and all. And I think this is the right time we answer them and help them in getting these products in the market as soon as possible.
Okay, great. That's great. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
so Asif ji will be sharing the video link. So the video link of last two webinars is on YouTube. I'll just share the link with you as well, so that you can go through those webinars. And for this webinar as well, it will be up on the YouTube playlist, I think within a day or two. And you can also watch this as well if you have missed any session, any part of this session. Right. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. And we'll be sharing. So, Mr. Siddharth, if you can share the slides for this session.
Yeah, I will be sharing in 5 minutes. I will just share it.
Right. Right. So, what we'll do is we'll send to all the participants who have registered. So the slides as well as the link to the YouTube playlist where they can find the other all the other webinars as well.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Siddharth. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And let's meet at the next webinar soon on Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Bye. Take care.